Happy Thursday. Really? Oh, man, what's going on, 10 HUD? It is 7 p.m. Pacific time, and we are here again. All right, I want to say, for the past couple of days, we have like some folks that actually subscribe to our channel, and we want to say thank you so much, and thank you for sharing this. It seems like we've been impacting people. So, and also, salud. Remember, 10 HUD show with a side of whiskey. I'm gonna pass it over to my buddy Will. Today we have an awesome guest, and Will's gonna be taking over.
We have Hillary Fleming. I used to work with Hillary, but I want her to tell her story of where she's been, what she's been doing, and how the Marines were. So tell us a little bit about you.
So I am 33 years old, and no big deal. I joined the Marine Corps when I was 18. It was about 3 days after I graduated high school. I went straight to boot camp. It was 2006. Boot camp, and then graduated, went to Marine Corps combat training. I was basically in the Marine Corps for 8 years. Long story short, I got out of the Marine Corps as a sergeant, and then I immediately worked for the federal government in Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Washington, D.C.
Quick question. Where'd you enter the military from? Where are you originally from? It's for some of our viewers.
Yeah, all the beginning stuff, right. Virginia. Yeah. I'm from the East Coast.
Virginia.
Yeah. Yep. I went to Parris Island, South Carolina. So the females, they went to Parris Island, and the males had a choice of either going to West Coast in San Diego, the Marine Corps Depot, San Diego, or going to Parris Island. But females only had one route. That was South Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's the first time I've ever known that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So Parris Island is the only place that Marine females go to train for basic training. That's it. Mm-hmm. Camp Pendleton is all males. And even at Parris Island, I don't know, for those that never been over there, the female barracks are actually located on a totally opposite side of the base. And they hardly ever interact with males. But I'll let Hillary tell us about that.
You were a Marine? I didn't know you were a Marine.
I was actually at Parris Island on an interchange.
He's a doctorate.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah.
Nice.
I got to do a little bit of Marine Corps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh,
tell us.
So boot camp, right? Let me see. A lot of the branches. Well, I don't know if did you guys have co-ed boot camp at all or no? Did you have females with you during boot camp?
Not me. I went to infantry school.
Oh, yeah. Did you?
So the Air Force is a little bit different. There are females in the same dormitories, but they have different rooms. So a whole female flight will be on one side, and then a brother flight or platoon, which y'all would call it, is on the opposite side in a different barracks or like different dorm room. And now I think females train females and males train males. I don't know what the whole Air Force process is now, but before it used to be a male instructor could train females or a female instructor could train males. It didn't matter.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, we had female drill instructors, and they were the meanest, the meanest people ever. I swear.
Yes, they are.
Waking up early in the morning and being called a whore and a slut wasn't really my idea of a good morning, but that was the Marine Corps for you. I mean, they broke you down to build you back up again. It's basically recreating a person. You had to develop a completely different personality. We had to learn structure. We had to learn discipline and obedience and everything. It just completely, in 3 months, I changed from this horrible kid that didn't listen, and I was with a bad group of kids, and I was just a punk. I was a horrible person. And then I graduated, and I was like, yes, ma'am, no, sir. I had all the respect, because they instill that in you, you know? And that's one thing I definitely appreciate, because even now, I take it with me now, years and years later, I still say yes, sir, no, ma'am. And I have a newfound respect that I didn't even have as an adolescent, you know? Yeah. So it was really great.
Once you're done with training, basic training, that's when you go into your MOS training, correct?
Correct. Right. And before I forget, because my girls will kill me. So I wanted to give a shout out to Papa Company, 4030, Dirty 30. That's the one I was in. And 31, 4030 and 4031. So that was our sister platoon, and we all graduated together. I love you guys and I miss you. Sorry. Yeah, and we still keep in touch. It's great. Yeah, I digress. So after boot camp was Marine Corps combat training. And that's where you learn like shooting all the different types of weapons and being out in the field, like no showering, you know, learning how to live off the wilderness, doing, you know, the land navigation and all the really in-depth training. And females and males did that together, but the males that would go to infantry, they went to SOI, so the School of Infantry. That's where they would do their training. So any job that was outside of infantry did the Marine Corps combat training.
Gotcha.
See, and that's a major reason, the major difference between all other branches of service and the Marine Corps. Yeah. For the Marine Corps, correct, you're an infantryman first, or an infantry person first, and then your MOS second. And for all other branches of service, your whatever specialty is, and then if you can shoot a rifle, pick up a rifle and do what you can.
Yeah. Yep.
But not a lot of them know how.
Yeah, that was the thing, you know, you're a rifleman first, and it was just, you know, it's just so crazy because I go in there not knowing how to shoot a weapon. I've never shot one my whole entire life, and I was out of shape, and then I left, and I'm like, I got top 10 in the series for doing the physical fitness test, and I was doing well shooting, all this stuff I never would have imagined doing. Cause I mean, like, you know, I didn't plan on doing that. It just kind of, I mean, that's how my life fell into place. But I was a great shooter and I loved doing it. So, I mean, it was awesome. It was a really good experience.
What, you know, kind of go back a little bit. What made you join the Marine Corps? Why did you choose the Marine Corps versus like other branches?
So my half sister, she was already an officer in the Marine Corps.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I got that from. I mean, I really looked up to her a lot growing up. And when I saw her in uniform, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I want to be. And I had decided in 7th grade that I wanted to be in the Marine Corps. And I had actually started talking to a recruiter very early on and got my brother to join. He's older than me, and he ended up going through boot camp before me. So, yeah, I mean, it was a family thing. My dad was Navy and all that, but my sister was the one that I looked up to for joining the Marine Corps.
Hey, so if y'all didn't know, to become an officer in the Marine Corps is a lot more difficult than any other branch. And the reason is because not only do you have to have a degree and score really high in your ASVAB, but you actually have to score really high in your PT test before you join the Marine Corps. Versus like other branches like the Air Force, they're like, all right, you scored high enough, let's get you in as an officer, and then we'll train your PTU, your fatness out, you know.
Hold on. Doesn't the Marines have the was it PCP? Pork truck platoon?
Oh, body control program.
Oh, body control.
I thought it was a pork chop platoon.
And, yeah,
we called it the fat body program. But
no, you didn't. There was something worse than that.
Yeah, all Marines are simplified.
Yeah.
And they're simplified.
I'm waiting for someone to comment something because they get offended about that. Right?
I know, and like that's okay. No, and actually, it's crazy because they tape you, right? So you can be a top PFT, or I mean, you could be a top runner, top everything, and you could tape out and be considered overweight.
Same thing, Air Force. Air Force.
Yeah, it's insane. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like if you are able to do all the things, I mean, I get it. It's appearance too. You don't want to have, you know, your
fat bodies. Just call it fat bodies. That's what they call it.
Your fat bodies.
I guess it's different in the Army. I remember my drill sergeant, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to call him out. But my drill sergeant was a heavy set dude, and I remember him running. He can run forever.
Yeah,
with a cigarette in his mouth.
Nice.
He wouldn't run very fast.
Yeah,
but he can run forever.
Right.
I mean, I could do circles around him, but I'd get tired before he even break a sweat.
Yeah,
but he was a little chunky.
So tell me something though. This isn't because we're going more in depth about this, right? So for the tape, because he talked about tape. Did you ever get tape before?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the tape? I guess you can say where they tape you at versus men, right? Because men is just like, I think there's only 3 things, right?
Yeah.
Right. Gosh.
They do your neck.
They only tape you if you weigh out. So if you weigh, like, you have to be within a certain range for weight. So if you go outside of that range, then that's when you have to get taped. But if I remember correctly, I think they do neck for us. They do the very middle of your waist, and then they do the middle of your butt. So they go around that way, which sucks because if you have a big butt, you know, like that's not fair. So I mean, my girlfriend, she was blessed with a booty, and she got taped, and that girl, she taped out, and she ended up getting written up for it. But again, she was great with everything. So it's just one of those.
Work that out.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you know, the Air Force, we just tape around the waist, right above the hip bone on the sides.
Okay.
For both male and female, it's the same tape. So
yeah.
So all right. So tell us your experience going into. So you finish your combat training, then you go to your MOS. How was that as a female?
So I didn't really experience anything until I went to the fleet. They call the fleet basically where you end up getting stationed. I don't know if the same terminology applies. So I actually got stationed in Camp Pendleton as my first duty station. And I was with males and females. So it wasn't, I had a desk job. Like I was a paper pusher, which I hated, but I didn't really see too much of it then. It was when I was in a motor T unit with all mechanics, all men, like maybe 1 or 2 females, but that's when I felt it like the most. That's when I felt it the most. And also being in the barracks too for the short amount until I had my daughter, which is a whole other
segment.
Yeah, so being in the barracks, so we had recon, we had got all the males from recon, you know, and then it was just co-ed, you know. And what do you do with bored Marines on a Friday night? You know, it's insane. It's chaos. We have our duty constantly our duty roams around, and people are just drunk off their minds. It's insane. Yeah, but it was challenging. Yeah, it was really challenging. Just being a female, you go in there already into the men's club. It's
a good old boys club, yeah.
It was an old boys club, right? So, I mean, you go in there and you're immediately having to just prove yourself. Every single day you're having to prove yourself, trying to be faster than the fastest guy, you know, trying to shoot better than the best shooter, you know, just so that way you can be treated equally, you know, to some sense. And I'm not saying all of the Marines are like this, you know, because some, I mean, especially nowadays, I don't know how different it is now, but when I was in, it wasn't like that. You know, you had to prove yourself. You had to.
I have a quick question. How difficult would it be for, you know, a female to fly under the radar? Because there is a lot of individuals men, and I've seen it where they fly under the radar. They get their rank when they're supposed to. They don't overachieve. They don't underachieve.
Skate.
But I can see that it would be extremely difficult for a female to fly under the radar because, like you just mentioned, you have to constantly prove yourself. But how do you see it from your point of view? That's what I'm saying.
Right. So, to fly under the radar as a female, You would have to essentially have a resting bitch face. And I mean, have a resting bitch face and just do everything that you're supposed to do and don't interact or hang out with a bunch of Marines all the time on the outside. Because as soon as you're seen as a female hanging out with a bunch of dudes, even though they're your buddies, your brothers, you're a slut. You're a barracks whore. You're a barracks rat, So that's just how it was in the time that I was in. You basically have to just be in complete solitude to be under the radar,
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, because there was no other way.
Would you be able to promote? I mean, would there be any chance of promoting?
So we get, oh gosh, it's been so long. We get promoted by a point system up until corporal, I believe. I think it's automatic, actually. Sorry. It's automatic until corporal. And then from corporal to sergeant and up, you have to go on a point system. And then after that, it's based on your fitness report, or like your fit rep, they called it. Yeah. So on how well you do. And I mean, there were some pretty badass females I saw getting promoted, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was just so few and far between. There wasn't a lot of respect for the female Marines unless you were that badass or that resting bitch face chick that was badass at your PFTs, or a good shooter, or a good martial arts instructor, or whatever the case,
Yeah.
By the way, talking about martial arts, I do want to talk about that because the Marines actually get belts. That you get martial art belts, which is not something that other branches get. How is that? Did you ever engage with a male? Like, were you allowed to fight a male, or was it just female?
Did you whip his?
Yeah. I actually became a martial arts instructor. So
nice.
Oh, I went through the training.
So don't fuck with her.
So you're a certified ninja. Got it. All right.
I went through the training and
Marine ninja, bro.
Oh yeah, my fault. Marine ninja. All right.
Yeah, I got my ass kicked just like a guy would,
Yeah.
The only rule was we couldn't get punched in the face. So that was the only the only stipulation. But it was so awesome. I would go home with like bruises all over my legs, and I would just soak in a saltwater bath every night. But man, we learned so much awesome stuff, and it was great. It was so great. I mean, granted, I came back from Ireland and I was still probably hungover. So I was told immediately when I got off the plane that I had to go to this training.
Sure.
But, yeah, right.
Cheers.
But it was great. It was awesome. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been asking all the branches, what would you say to a brand new Marine, or let's start with first, what would you say to a female that's trying to join the Marine right now? What advice would you give that person?
Other than don't do it.
No, I'm just kidding. I would say have tunnel vision, but in a good way. Like, just focus on you. Focus on doing well for you and not trying to prove anything, because that can just take so much out of you. But if you just do your best to try and move forward and go up and be the next rank and the next rank, that's going to get you much farther than always worrying about what the males are going to think or trying to be better than the next person, Okay.
What would you say or do if you were in a leadership position in the Marine Corps? So right now, if you were 07, a brigadier general or major general in the Marine Corps, what would you be implementing for females to something that would benefit?
What policies would you change it?
Yeah. So it's really tough now because I know a lot of stuff has changed, but if I was an officer now in the same time that I was in the military, I I would probably just say like kick ass. Like, I don't know, just do really well and don't make an ass out of yourself. Don't make yourself look stupid, you know, and just like in life, you know, you don't want to make a fool out of yourself and stuff because people are going to judge you and do it, whatever the case. You want to, you know, just focus and do whatever you can to get to the next rank, you know, be the powerhouse, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Do you think that female Marines are constantly trying to be something else? Like, did you feel that way like during your time of service?
Man, I felt that way a lot. I felt that way all the time. Especially when I was pregnant. I was a single mom and pregnant, and that immediately, like, you're just like a piece of garbage at that point, you know? Oh, wow. So I had my daughter, single mom. I would have her car seat in my arm in formation because I had no one else to watch her. And I was 19 years old. And I only had 6 weeks to get back in shape and to do all the things that I could do before, you know, 9 months to create a body, 6 weeks to be a Spartan again. Yeah, I mean, it was just crazy.
Wait, is that standard or is that just something that
they just changed the policy?
They just changed it. Yeah, they actually have a I was trying to look it up. They have a postpartum PFT, I believe, for up to 6 months. You have, I think, I'm not 100% sure. But when I was,
when you were in, you experienced something. What was it then?
6 weeks.
Wow.
6 weeks.
How do you don't? It's impossible to even heal.
Yeah.
Healed at that time.
And you know, you're already. Oh, go ahead. Well, sorry.
Just, you know, we were talking about last week about this, and you know what's crazy is that females have so many issues with their hips, right? And we were talking about this last week.
I was listening to that.
And I mean, how do you expect a female to heal in 6 weeks when she just opened her pelvic bone? You know, like it doesn't make any sense.
That's what I'm telling me. Some of these folks, I'm sorry to interrupt, but some of these folks that make these policies have no idea. Like, I don't even know where they get them at all.
That's because they're old men, dude.
Or they don't even have experience at all. But anyways, go.
But it's not that they're old. The problem is that they try to implement these freaking policies without looking at the repercussions, right? So they said, all right, let's let females in the military. Did they ever consider, hey, let's also look at women's health?
Right.
You know, it's like now in 2017, when the Women's Health Clinic was even thrown out there to say, hey, let's look at female, you know, health issues. That don't apply to males, you know, but they don't look at that stuff and they don't care. And now they're finally trying to catch up. And it's
after all this time, and all these females, like you said, like it's catching up to them now, you know. And my first thing after I gave birth to my daughter in Camp Pendleton, my first thought was just like, I need to get back in shape. You know, that was all I could think about. I was like, if I didn't get in shape, I would get written up, you know, because
you were on that tunnel vision, good version of that tunnel vision that you were talking about.
You have to just and also like just especially being a female and pregnant at that time. Oh gosh, you were garbage. Like you were just garbage, you know? It's like, oh, okay, so you want to get out of everything because you're pregnant. You know, that was the whole mentality. It was that we wanted to get out of things instead of like, I'm a female and I want to have a family.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to get out of anything. My body's capable of producing child. So I'm sorry.
Honestly, like Junior.
Yeah, right. Junior.
Yeah, remember that movie? But yeah, it's a really. I mean, I've been out since a couple of years now, and I can tell you that it's been a really tough for a lot of women in the military as far as like starting a family or leaving, you know, just focusing on their career and then eventually starting a family, which leads them to not get promoted to become an E7 or E8. You know, so I seen that firsthand, and I'm like, that's kind of like the mentality. Which is,
have you noticed that
it kind of happens in the corporate world too? I mean,
that's true. Yeah.
Even now, like in the federal government, you know, like when I was just still a single parent, I got so much discrimination because I had to, God forbid, take my daughter to a doctor's appointment, you know, or.
So that's a good segue. So where you work for the federal government, correct?
Correct.
So what do you do, or where do you work?
So I work currently at Citizenship and Immigration Services in LA, downtown LA.
So that's where you experienced that. Well, we don't want to talk, but
So where I experienced it was actually in when I was in Washington D.C. with ICE, with Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So because you know what, I had male supervisors who were bachelors and didn't understand that, you know, single parents exist, and I don't have a husband to help me. You know, I had to take care of everything on my own. So anything that came up, it was miserable. It was absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
You know?
So I have a question. So getting out of the military, how was your transition? You know, getting into the, did you immediately went to the workforce, or did you take some time? How was that experience?
I immediately went in. Yeah. So, and my biggest fear was not being able to find a job and transition well post-military, because a lot of veterans, you know, they don't have good experiences as soon as they get out. They can't find a job. I've had a couple buddies that were living in their car for a while, you know, and I was blessed, luckily. I mean, I was so fortunate to be able to have this federal job at ICE and then have a, you know, security for my kids for, you know, however long. So I actually started searching a year before I got out, because I knew I was like 8 years, I'm going to wrap up, but I kept in touch with. Yeah.
Light bulb for those service members, right? Search before. Go ahead, sorry.
Yes, exactly. And don't wait till last minute, because, you know, veterans, I mean, not everybody, but some people
get out and then figure it out when they're out.
Yeah, some people have the mentality like, oh, I'm a veteran, I have preference, I'll get any job I want. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works, because you have to, you know, you still have to have a clean resume. You know, I don't have a college education, and luckily I was able to get into the federal government. But the worst mentality to have is that you'll be able to get anything you want just because you're a veteran. And it's not bashing veterans whatsoever, but it's just realistic. That's just
it's true. There's a lot of veterans like that. They're just like, well, you know what, I did this. I deserve it, right? Like I deserve to get things out.
Right.
Yeah.
So Hillary, you know,
and not to say anything to the veterans and say, you know, you are entitled to a lot. Your service is worth so much.
Absolutely.
But just like in the military, you still have to work for your shit, man. So and that's a mentality that I had it when I got out of the military. I was like, man, I'm gonna get out, and I'm, you know, and that's a mentality that brings you to a place that you didn't think you'd get. And for some of us, it kicks us in the ass and it kicks us into high gear. But for a lot of us, unfortunately, it kicks us in the wrong direction.
Right.
And it leads us into other things that veterans shouldn't be experiencing.
Yeah. And veterans already they're suffering with PTSD, you know, and there's, PTSD, that's a whole other topic. But it's so crazy, you know, having this Marine who was in all these combat situations into a, you know, work lifestyle with civilians, you know, and it's difficult. And I feel like they don't really prepare you for that when you're about to get out. Like they don't prepare you.
Okay.
They really, you know, they don't,
So that's a really good question. What was your separation briefing or your TAPS program? And how thorough was it?
My drill instructor actually gave my separation briefing, which was so awkward. She hated me so much. I saw her and I was just like, she was like, Fleming. I was like, oh, okay.
You're still near to her, huh?
Yeah. Oh, God, she scared me. And it was funny because she was so nice. But I don't know if it was like a bunch of just courses, you know? I mean, we didn't learn the reality of what it was going to be like when you got out, you know? I went from single mom. I was on base housing. My house was taken care of financially. My medical was taken care of financially, you know, everything. And now I get out and I'm like, medical insurance? I have to pay for this shit now? Are you serious? And then, you know, housing, I had to pay for my housing. So I was struggling hard. It's like, they don't teach you, you know, just like in high school, they teach you all this stuff, but how to balance your, you know, checking account or whatever the case.
Yeah.
So it's one of those skills that, and that's the thing that's something that I actually happened to me one time at a university. The lady came out really strong to a lot of veterans. It's like, they don't know what they're doing because everything was taken care of in the military, you know. But then again, and the point, she was right, because it's like everything is paid for, right? You don't have to worry. Your focus is only the mission, which is a mission for your company and the branch you're serving. Right. You know, so yet trying to, especially if you serve so many years, it's like, okay, now I got like what? For me, it was like 3 days tap. And it's like, you just got to compile everything you need to know and get out of.
You only had 30 minutes of VA training. That's it.
At least you got 3 days.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I got like a 4-hour brief.
But that's the thing, that TAPS was 3 days. It was always scheduled 3 days.
Oh, they call it TAPS?
Yeah.
They call it TAPS.
Okay,
Transition assistance program. But the problem is that TAPS is it's 3 days, but 30 minutes of it is VA. That's it. You don't get anything else.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about the VA benefits.
Yeah,
I'm sure things have changed now, but you know, but again, it's just that, you know, service members are not able to figure out what to do when they get out of the military, especially when they have a short window, and especially if you've been serving for so many years.
Yeah,
I have a question, just because we're going to run out of time, and I have a really, really cool question. And how is the branch or your service recognized while you're at work, or, you know, is there a military still culture in the government that you're working for?
Yeah, she's got a picture of herself in uniform out there.
No, I don't.
She's got a shadow box.
She has a whole big old glamorous.
I don't have a glamour. Okay, no. So it's actually especially my office now. So I mean, there are some people that are veterans, you know, from other branches, and that's cool because you all find each other and you're like
gravitate towards it.
Yeah.
We had the veterans committee.
Right. Yeah. And that was really cool.
Yeah.
But there are some people who are not veterans who dislike veterans strongly.
Just say it, hating. They hate
what?
They hate the shit. No, and that's the thing.
I don't think they directly. I don't think they directly hate, but they definitely feel like we have
inferior.
Yeah. And it's a little intimidating to a lot of people. So, and I've heard it before. It's not. I mean, that happens everywhere. But
I do want to say this: as for women, I noticed that if they never served, they see other women that served in the military like
as threats.
Yeah, definitely.
Even a step up on threat.
Like, oh shit, you know,
right. And I work in.
And it's
strong. Go ahead, Hillary. Yeah.
But like Will knows, I worked in a predominantly female office. He knows.
I know.
Predominantly female office, and I'm in charge of them, and they hated that, you know. Danya, yes, exactly. Yeah, it sucks, right? Thank you. And it's horrible. Like one of the employees, she was like, "What has a veteran contributed that I haven't contributed as a federal employee?" I was like, my life. I was in Afghanistan for a year. Like, are you serious? I was like, I've contributed my life. I've contributed your freedom. I don't want to hear it. You know,
you just gotta say, I don't work 9 to 5 when I was in the Marines.
Oh my gosh,
that's all I gotta say.
The worst thing is like, and you know how that works. Like the whole, oh my gosh, the temper and everything. I had to keep my mouth shut just to maintain professionalism. And that was the hardest part. But that's where I've heard that so many times, like what is a veteran contributed that I haven't contributed? And meanwhile, this person, doesn't work at all. And they just sit, okay, we'll know.
So we got you.
You know what? It's
right before we wrap up.
From a different perspective, from a civilian's perspective, and then you have veterans jump into the workforce, especially into the government jobs, and they start seeing like, hey, I've been trying the entire time that I've been employed here to get into that good old boys club. And then you get in here and then you're automatically in. So I think that's where the jealousy comes in and that animosity comes in. And I suspect, I'm not quite sure, I'm not a female, but I think that it is even worse when a female, especially in that work environment, kind of gets a peek into the good old boys club when they come in and because they're a vet.
Right.
That is true. Yeah.
I think it's the fact
that thought came from my wife. I think we discussed it a couple of weeks ago.
I think the issue with that one is definitely the fact that we come in really hard, and a lot of people can't keep up with our tempo. Our tempo is really, really fast. And like
male or female, you come in balls to the wall all the time, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got my last question before we got to head out is, do you deal with the VA at all?
I don't.
You do not. Okay.
No, I remember you telling me a lot about it, but I haven't.
I know you haven't filed because
Yeah, I learned from you. Yeah, I was going to file for PTSD. Actually, I did file, and they said that I wasn't qualified because I didn't. Whatever. I didn't have enough.
I work for the VA, so.
Oh, well, we're gonna talk afterwards.
Well, I work in the research department, but I can definitely connect you to people. So
that would be great. That'd be great. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, you know what? I have to say, Hillary, thank you so much for you sharing your thoughts about military and outside of the military as well, and also coming from a perspective of a single mom, what you've been through. So it's very challenging, and being open about like things that you're going through right now and what you experience, right? So it's really great stuff. And for us, it's all about helping shape someone's perspective, even a civilian or veteran, to kind of start thinking the old ways and just kind of start making these changes, right? Because that's what About 10 HUD is about, So I was just going to say thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say to the audience, for incoming, women Marines, or they're going to process out of the military?
So, well, I want to thank you guys for having me. First of all, I really appreciate your time. Thank you. Salute. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Salute. I have no more drinks.
Thank you so much for having me. And I really appreciate you guys because I've seen your previous recordings. I think I've seen your wife, Pedro.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw her, and it's just great that you guys are also incorporating the female perspective. So I really appreciate that because that's, we have a curtain in front of us, we're kind of just kind of put in the corner. But for any females, just keep kicking ass and don't worry about what other people think. If you're doing the right thing, then that's all that matters.
I got one more question. I just got reminded, and I always ask this question at the end of the show, right before we cut off. What is your favorite MRE?
Oh my God!
Don't be like Will. Be like, I've never had an MRE. Was it you? No,
what are you talking about?
Please say Chili
That was
Mac.
your wife. That was your wife, brother.
No, actually, it was.
That was your wife, bro.
Oh my gosh, I like the ravioli. I think it was the beef ravioli, and because I would put hot sauce in it.
Yeah.
Anything with hot sauce tastes better.
Yeah.
You put the little bottle.
You need like 4 bottles, man.
What was yours?
Chili Mac.
Oh, that was it. No, that was it. No, Chili Mac. Yeah.
That was 9.
I had
you put the jalapeno spread, the jalapeno cheese.
Yeah, the cheese spread. Yeah, that cheese.
And then you crack the crackers into it and make it a little thicker and pasty.
Yeah, those desert dry crackers that turn into
the jalapeno. You got the whole jalapeno cheese spread and
And
maybe buy one from one of your buddies. Another.
And if you were lucky, you would get the peanut butter M&Ms. But I digress.
All right. Thank you, guys. Hey, guys, so we've been watching. Thank you so much. If you like this video, I'm sure you like this video. Like this video, share this video, and subscribe to our channel.
Please subscribe.
We need to 100 subscribers so we can actually customize our YouTube channel. So go ahead, please share this and help us out. All right, guys. Until next time, take care. Remember, every Thursday,
drink
7 p.m.
responsibly.
Pacific time.
Yeah.
Drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly.